Hold on, y'all. You know I be forgetting that I should have done this before I even started this. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Link in bio. Okay, I'll put the link in the bio after. Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget to put the link in the bio. So I just wanted to let y'all know that today we are going to be doing a small doses forum for those of y'all who listen to my, excuse me, I'm still waking up. I'm eating fruits. For those of y'all who watch my podcast and listen to my podcast, Small Doses, we're doing a forum today. We're doing a forum on the side effects of uprising. So you all will be able to watch via YouTube Live. So the link is in my bio. It starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you press on the link now, it'll take you there, but it's not going to pop off until 1 p.m. Eastern. But it really is just going to be an opportunity for some questions to get answered and some conversations to be had, and, you know, for folks to really just listen and, you know, really get their juices flowing and thoughts going. And I think that right now more than ever, it's just incredibly important that we continue to be talking. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Calvin Brodus.
I so fuck with you. I really do. Like, when you said what you said about the real, I really understood what you were saying. You couldn't say what you wanted to say, but I understood what you were saying. Because I understand the dynamics of Hollywood, and I know that they're not going to let your blackness just shine. So you may need to create your own platform like you do, so that way you can speak entirely from the perspective that you want to speak from, because we need to hear it. We really do.
Thank you, Snoop. And when I say that you don't like, don't drag me like Gayle now.
Now, you know that was a different monster. Speaking of them, where have they been? They're missing.
Touche, my nigga, touche.
I've heard nothing from them, but when it's time to tear a black man up, they quick to jump up.
I really do want, you know, I love you. You know that, right?
Right. I love you back.
And I just want us to be change agents for, you know, of course, affecting the outside space of what is oppressing Black folks, but also for affecting our internal dynamics, you know, and having.
I think the internal is the most detrimental, because that's the one that goes unnoticed. And it's like, if those internal would speak like me and you, which we don't have as much power, but we have more heart, and people respect our heart. But if we had the power that those have up top, then it would be more of a get to it right now. They just sit back and watch us do the show.
You know, and the thing is that the power comes from the people. And I think that that's what we really have to continue to keep reminding folks. Like, the folks who make these decisions at the top, they end up basing it on like the studies that they do and, you know, the numbers and the research, because they don't really know the people. They right. Tell about your people based on some percentages that they, you right. know, so they did when
statistics.
They put, you know, so
I got one real question though.
Always.
How many Black police officers are policing Black neighborhoods?
I mean, I think that's a real question. And I think my curiosity is really in just like, how many Black police officers still consider themselves members of Black neighborhoods?
Wow. But at the same time, I'll say this. This is why I brought the question up. For example, if there's a white cop and a Black cop riding, Black man is about to be arrested. Black cop see it out of control. He'll say, hey, let me holler at him real quick. Let me chop it up with him. That's what used to happen when I was young. Like, they would, if it was a Black cop, he would give us the time of day on, look, man, we ain't really trying to take you niggas to jail. Y'all, we know y'all there selling dope and all this shit. Man, y'all need to be low key, giving us game, trying to help us. Not just.
I mean, that's because he still considers y'all a part of him.
Right.
There's us.
right? Or he either went to school with my mother or my uncles, or it's something that ties him into our community. Like, there was always a cop in the community that we knew. Even though he was a cop, he still was one of us. And white folks feel like all of the cops is all of them, and we have no representation. So if you send 2 white cops to a black house or a black neighborhood, he naturally gonna be in drawdown mode. But if you put a black cop in there with him, he may be able to tell him, hold on, I know him. Well, let me holler at him. Or let me chop it up with him before you pull a gun on him and get some understanding.
That's because we protect our own. That's a natural human, like, that's a natural animal reaction, right? To protect your own.
Right.
And the fact is, there is an insidious movement that happens where cops are put in communities where they don't know the people. That's done, like, thoughtfully. You know,
Right.
like, there's places in Pennsylvania where they're bringing cops that have never seen black people before. And then police community of black people. And that is not by accident.
I think cops need to live where they patrol.
1,000,000%.
If you live where you patrol, then guess what? Do something, nigga, and get off work. Now you regular. Like, that's what it got to be the standard. Right. Let's keep it 100. Like, how the fuck is you going to...
Because you won't shit where you sleep.
Right. And that's a fact. And I think that's the disconnect, is that you got these cops who don't even live in the communities where they policing. So if they do fuck somebody up or shoot somebody or kill somebody, they go back to their little neighborhood and hide. And then we got to deal with the mess.
Absolutely.
How do we change laws, though, Amanda? How do we change those laws? Because that's what I don't know. And I think you more qualified to explain to me and the people that's listening. How do we change certain laws to get the shit working for us?
Well, I think the thing is that we have a difference in, like, changing laws, and then there's policies, and then there's also the reality that the police department doesn't necessarily run on laws. Like, they be doing whatever they want. And then we have a police union that, for what it's worth, is run by people who don't care about black people, you know, and who are really solely dealing with money matters and with power. And when we're dealing with that, we have to approach it differently. When we talk about the laws, like, first of all, it's about the people who are, in my opinion, it's about the people who are enforcing the law. So it's about our judges. It's about changing our DAs, right? It's about because, you know, a DA simply is the person who is going to take what the detective does and get a conviction. So if the DA decides, like, this doesn't need a conviction, like, get out of here, then it's not. But if the DA is like, you know, this needs to be taken to the court, this needs to be tried, that's when you start to see change, because you start to understand that there's going to be repercussions for your actions. So we need DAs that share in the understanding of the people on what needs to have a consequence. Right. And are only protecting their power, they're only protecting their positions, you know, they're in politics, or they're protecting their ability to move up, you know, because that's a lot of this is simply just a power play. And that's in Hollywood, that's in politics. People are just trying to move up. Law and policy is key. Mark Lamont Hill just said it in the chat. Law and policy is key. So then we also have all of these folks who are senators and who are senators and representatives in the House, and they are bringing legislation to the fore that is supposed to move downward in terms of what DAs decide needs to be handled, what DAs decide needs to be prosecuted. So I think the biggest thing, Snoop, is that we really, really, really don't understand that, like, voting on a local level is super important. Then there's budgets. Like, I know a lot of people, myself included, have been hearing the conversation about defund the police, defund the police. Right. And, like, I didn't even know we could do that. What y'all mean, defund the police? Every county has a budget, and that budget is cut up into the needs of that county and decided on, counties and cities, and decided on by the people who sit on a board and vote on who and what resources get funded. Well, yesterday, LA County, all them people sitting there voted that the police need to receive, I think it's 50, don't quote me, but 54% of the budget. So in a county that needs health resources, that needs education resources, that needs, you know, food and water resources, they think that those are minuscule pieces of the pie. They think it's more important that we have, you know, a police system in place. Well, I think we can both agree that when we have better communities, we have better mindsets. When we have more resources, we have better abilities at creating inroads that don't lead to crime, that don't lead to destruction, and thus we don't require policing in the same way. So
Right.
perhaps our money was being put to the people versus to policing the people, we would be able to see a change. So defunding the police happens in a number of ways, but on a basic note, it's about us voting people in those positions who vote on budgets and making sure that those people understand what the actual people actually need and not what is needed to protect power.
Got you. Because I feel like in LA, a lot of the gangbangers police their own neighborhoods, meaning that the OGs, when the OGs get to a certain point where they don't want to bang no more, they want to live, they want to educate, they want to do something positive, they become the police, because most of the G's out here ain't with the violence no more, and they pushing a positive line. So they control their neighborhoods with keeping the violence at a low and keeping everything at an understanding. So to me, those should be the police officers. We should be able to police our own communities the way it was meant to be. Police are supposed to work with the community so we can police the community together. Not you coming here and enforce the law and then leave us in shambles and then let us fight each other.
And let's remember that the police don't even be knowing the law.
Right. That's why I respect the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan and the Fruit of Islam. Because one thing about them brothers, and I'm going to say it, you never hear about them getting arrested. You never hear about them getting shot. You never hear about them getting treated wrong by the police. Because one, they dress the part. They never solo. They know the law, and they don't move with no arms. That's the sharpest black man you can find on the streets right there. When you're suited and booted and executed, and they can't do nothing to you. So to me, I like to give Minister Farrakhan, the brothers of the Nation of Islam and the Fruit of Islam, a lot of respect and a lot of love, because they teaching it the right way, and they always getting discriminated because it's looked like as something militant. No, it's not. It's just teaching black power and black people and black awareness. Once you learn about the Nation of Islam and the Fruit of Islam, you'll find that they know the law better than the law. And once you know the law, then that way you can beat the law. Because if you don't know the law, then you up against the gun to begin with. But if you know the law and you start throwing it in their face, then they have to stop and check themselves.
Well, you know, the phrase knowledge is power is not something perfunctory. I mean, that really means something.
Right.
You know, why? It's like, I always say, never forget, they didn't want us to read. It was illegal to read. So of course.
I remember that. I remember them saying that. They were saying back in the slave days, the Uncle Tom slave would go tell the master, they back there teaching them niggas how to read. And they would tell on them, and they would have to hide the book, and they would have to learn how to read on their own time, but they would have to get rid of the slaves that would go tell, because it was always the what's that, the lynch, the what's his name?
Willie Lynch syndrome.
That bullshit that we still trying to distangle right now with the light skin, dark skin. Look at me and you. We don't believe in that bullshit.
Never
we
have.
passed the Willie Lynch. It ain't working on me and you.
No,
we light skin, brown skin, getting it in. You know what I'm talking about?
The truth of the matter is, like, and there's a dope Malcolm X clip where he just talks about, like, when the black man decides to educate himself, that's when we're going to really see change, because that's when we start looking at each other like, oh, you're me. And
Right.
that's what, and we need to extend that to black men looking at black women and saying, you are me, we are us, and I have to protect you because you are a part of my business. You are a part of my, like, ecosystem, and what happens to you happens to me. And I think that when you're talking about like the learning and understanding of the law, and even understanding our own histories, all of these things are things that were kept from us. So actually engaging in doing that is seen as a violent act to many. How dare you try and learn the shit we tried to keep from you? How dare you? So that's why, like, I preach. And I don't even mean to be preaching so much, but sometimes I really just feel like I'm just trying to encourage folks to really open their eyes to the ways in which, like, these folks have done so with such ease. Right. They dismantle our ability to build our own platforms to freedom.
But you got to know your calling. You got to know your calling. If you're a preacher, you're a preacher. You can't deny your calling. That is. Or like my grandmama used to tell me this, rest in peace to my grandmother, but she used to always tell me this when I was like 7, 8 years old. You're going to be a preacher. You're going to be a preacher. And I'm like, Granny, you don't know what you're talking about. But as I live now in my world today, I feel like I am a preacher, because I preach and I speak to the people, and I am the voice of the unheard. And I feel like you the same. Like, we can't run from our calling. People depend on us to have these kind of conversations, to put the information in the air, and to stand tall and to stand firm on who we are, and to stay who we are, no matter what the situation is.
And that's really what I stand on. You know, we've gotten to such a place of deceitfulness and distrust that, like, folks can't even recognize a real one when they see one.
That's always been my problem. I've always been able to tell a motherfucker they was real. Even if I wasn't supposed to, I'd jump across the street to tell a motherfucker how real they was. Because that's me. Like, my mother raised me to love people. My mother raised me to tell it like it is and not like it was. My mama is my backbone. She showed me the real on how to be real.
Yep. And that's why you continue to do that. And, you know, I really appreciated your willingness to come forward and say, like, you know, I could have done that different. You know, like that's
Right.
like that's real. Like, we all,
When you're wrong. Look, man, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's one thing about us as black men. We have no problem with saying we wrong. But we have a problem when you're wrong and you don't say you're wrong. Because we're going to try to fix our problem because we already oppressed. So we know that we up against the gun. So we know if we wrong, we're going to fix it. And that's why I wanted to be a great example to people, that let them know, look, Snoop Dogg, he made a mistake. And he apologized in front of the whole world to let you know it's okay. It's okay to apologize. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have emotions. This is part of being a human being.
Snoop, brothers are, I know so many brothers who are more afraid of feelings than bullets. And until we really start dealing with these things and these traumas, these people are going to continue to use those traumas as triggers for us to shoot ourselves.
That's why we are important. This conversation was important. Thank you, Amanda, for letting me in. I don't want to take up all your time, but thank you for letting me in.
And thank you. I'll be doing the Small Doses Forum.
They need to see this brotherly, sisterly love right here. You know what I'm talking about?
See? It's the capital yes, the version double O-P. D-O-double-G-Y-D-O.
Believe it when I tell you, baby. You don't understand this, Amanda. Back up.
I love you.
Love you back. Have a great day.
You too, baby.